And I apologize for not pronouncing all the names correctly. It's you would be on deck. Josh?
My name is Josh Ewing. I live down in Bluff and run a nonprofit called Friends of Cedar Mesa. We focus on positive, proactive stewardship for this internationally significant area, which is larger than the area you're tasked with looking at, but that area is a very important area. We run an education center, a visitor center essentially, for the Bears Ears area. We do field programs where we work on building fences and fixing trails and stabilizing archaeological sites. We have monitoring initiatives to try to catch looters and vandals, those sort of things. And we do research in this area, so we know this area on the ground really well. That's our focus for our organization. But we have been involved in the advocacy for protection of this area. And I'm not going to get into the debate of how large the monument should be. That's not what you're here for. You're talking about management of this smaller 200,000 acre area. But what I want to encourage you as members of this committee to think about is what message does this plan send to the rest of the United States, to the public landowners around the United States? The preferred alternative that the agencies have developed at almost every stage picks the least protective, the least conservation-oriented alternative out of the alternatives. In some cases, it actually is less protective than the status quo. For example, on all these group size increases that you see in this plan, it's actually less protective than the 2008 management plan that's already in place. And the reason I really want you to think about this is not necessarily that we're going to agree on politics, but even think about it from your own personal perspective. What's important to you as a rancher, as a guide, as something else? Because what I am really concerned about here is that the current tack that's being taken, which is to protect the smallest possible area and make it the least protective plan possible, is that what's likely to happen is that the pendulum is going to swing back the other direction. I don't know if it's going to swing back in 2021, I don't know if it's going to swing back in 2025, but when it swings back, those of us who live here that use these lands on a daily basis, we're the ones that pendulum is going to strike the hardest. And so I think instead of picking the least protective plan, you don't have anything to do about the smallest area, but instead of picking the least protective plan, we should be reasonable and pick some places where we make this not just a monument in name only, but a truly conservation place that protects this internationally significant area. So I encourage you, if you have questions about what's happening on the ground, to ask us. We have lots of knowledge about the resources on the ground. We're out there on a daily basis with hundreds of volunteers. We can be a resource for you as you're doing your work. But please consider this as you're looking through and making recommendations to the BLM and the Forest Service. Thank you.
Libby?